Good afternoon, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day, everyone, and God bless you. Alright, the following is a collection of news from Patriots. Let's get into the news. And you guys remember in Washington Post, journalist Taylor Lorenz, the one who was crying on TV about harassment as she actively harasses people. The same person who is obsessed with lipstick TikTok, because Liza TikTok continues to unearth videos of people that give you an insight of how absolutely crazy the Democrat Party is, and their fascination with mutilating kids, and speaking openly about it. But then I can shock when people find out about it, and react. Of course, how most people would react is very disgusted and calling for these places to be either shut down, these drag queen story hours, drag queen drag strip shows, that they continue to drag kids to. This is all Taylor Lorenz's focuses now is to protect the child abusers and social media and within our culture within public spaces. That's what Taylor Lorenz is all worried about. And the other thing she's worried about is that meme that everyone made about her crying. She wants that meme removed from the internet because she's a absolutely thin-skinned commie. So let's kind of take a look what we have here. And it states this: Taylor Lorenz harasses female journalists online after being mean for crying an interview about mean tweets. That's right, you can't handle it. Lorenz went on MSNBC to cry about online harassment of female journalists. This led to more harassment. Now she's publicly targeted. The female journalist who conducted the interview, make this up. This is Taylor runs as she was crying fake crime. If you watch the interview, she was fake crying, trying to shut out tears, and of course she tries to make herself look way younger than she is. She's like almost 50, and she's lashing out at a journalist who actually conducted the interview, because of how much she's been mean. Here was the meme. She says, no bigger regret in my career than making a mistake of thinking Morgan Radford knew how to accurately report on abuse harassment. Her complete mishandling of his story has led to immense fallout and months of abuse. I could not warn women loudly enough. Stay away from her and MSNBC. Oh my gosh. There she has cried. Lorenz cannot take a joke, especially with joke is at her expense. Ever since Lorenz went on TV and cried about being on the receiving end of mean tweets claiming online harassment has given her PTSD. She and her crying face have been the subject of endless memes. A joke. The Washington Post reporter who covers technology and online culture can dish it, but she can't take it. After the interview aired on MSNBC Meet the Press Daily, when Morgan Radford Lorenz has gone to great lengths to get the internet to stop laughing at her for crying over mean tweets. On Twitter, she wrote what I just wrote here, what I just read to you guys. Women journalists constantly ask me how to get their stories out, Lorenz went on, or whether they should do interviews. All I can say is do not trust anyone in the media to tell your story. Report on harassment accurately, especially TV news people. They do not care about you or getting it right. That's pretty here. Let me hear you got this. Says everything that you should know about the media right here. This right here. She tells on herself. She's a reporter for the Washington Post. All I can say is do not trust anyone in the media to tell your story or report harassment accurately. Don't trust the media. Even Taylor Lorenz knows this because she is the person you don't trust in the media. She says, I'm so grateful for the organizations I've been able to work and to educate people on issues of online harassment and abuse. We need to change how the media tells these stories and force newsrooms to take this stuff seriously. It's been almost a decade since Gamergate. We could do better and start crying meme Gamergate. Gamergate is a whole nother story, right? So MSNBC has moved the video interview Kayla Rent from YouTube after she criticized it. That's funny. But it was only a little more than a week later that Lorenz would go on to dox Libs, a TikTok creator, China Rakshak, showing up at the homes of her family members seeking information about her. When Lorenz published the article exposing her and in Washington Post, China became the target of online harassment and threats. Of course, she doesn't care, right? Taylor Arendt is a hypocrite at the biggest thing of hypocrite. She's a washed-up journalist who continues to hang on pretending that she's way younger, continuing to try to learn young people to tell her stories that she can exploit them in order to ross and dox individuals she does not like. So continue to cry more. Taylor Lorenz, you are a horrible human being who sits there and only profits off the misery of others with your reporting. This is why no one trusts the mainstream media and people like you. Taylor Lorenz, cry harder. And then, folks, we had a little bit of a brief, let's say reprieve in July from this rapid rise of inflation. Kind of stayed home, and still have kinds of stayed flat. But now that we're in September, looking back at August, it is on the rise again. On a 1-year-over-year basis. According to the government, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the CRI of the Consumer Price Index is 8.3%. Now economists who always seem to get it wrong, expected it to rise 8.1%. So we are at a record high, which is very interesting, because right now, Joe Biden is planning to do some sort of victory lap speech. Is it today or tomorrow on how the Inflation Reduction Act is already showing progress? As inflation rises? Just thought you might want to know what's going on there. Okay, now, let's get into two things. Let's see. Let's get first into, is President Trump playing chess? And the reason why I ask that is because when I saw who they had agreed upon, we're talking about the Trump legal team, and Merrick Garland and the corrupt DOJ who they came in agreement to, for potential candidates to serve as a special master. Again, a neutral third party looking at the documents that were seized in the Mar-a-Lago raid. I was a little concerned. Now, I had mentioned the name of Judge Raymond Dearie. But now we have to actually look close at it because this is someone that the DOJ seems to be agreeing with Trump on. And why? Well, here it goes. CNN reporting. The Justice Department and President Donald Trump's legal team have found rare agreement in a potential candidate to serve as a special master tasked with reviewing the documents. Documents seized from Mar-a-Lago Judgment Theory, whom Trump's legal team put forward as an acceptable option to serve as the third-party attorney to independently review the seized materials, that Justice Department said in a court filing Monday evening. Now, what is of particular concern is this tweet from Andrew Weissmann, the real guy behind the Mueller investigation, going out on a limb here, and taking nothing away from the other judges. But DOJ would be wise to agree to Judge Jerry on the Trump list, and I bet DOJ will. He is a beloved judge in the EDNY Eastern District of New York. Absolute integrity and fairness. That's coming from Andrew Weissmann. Now I'm not going to rehash Andrew Weissmann and my bone to pick with him. Personally, let's just say I worked for Arthur Anderson and he and a whole bunch of other lying, skullduggery-loving people at the Department of Justice brought down the firm. And they brought down the entire firm, international firm over Enron, which is essentially a scam run by a few people in a Texas practice of the firm, but they took on the whole firm and it's no longer around. And it was the #1 firm the year they recruited me out of college. Andrew Weissmann also was the man really behind the Mueller investigation, running all those things. So can we really trust him? And here's the thing about Dearie. He is one of the 2 core FISA court judges, who rubber-stamped the illegal servant surveillance warrant signed by Comey McCabe and Sally Yates to spy on Trump's campaign. And he is the one who rubber-stamped the warrants to spy on Carter Page. So, wow, this doesn't seem like a good idea. To have this judge, especially one that Andrew Weissmann is saying, is a fair judge when obviously he is the last guy that we would trust on putting forward or opining on someone who is integral and honest and fair. But here's where things get interesting. When I looked at that, I'm like, well, maybe there's something at play here. Because remember, this name was suggested by Trump and his legal team. It's not like the DOJ said, hey, this is a person, and they go, okay, we agree to that name. It's the other way around. Trump's team has put this name forward. Now they obviously know that this is someone that the DOJ would like. There's gotta be a reason why they did that. Now, Dearie is a Reagan. He is a Reagan guy. Dearie, a Reagan nominee, has served as a federal judge in New York since '86. He retired in 2011, and is now a senior judge on the circuit. He also served a 7-year term on the U.S. Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, or FISA. He's one of the judges to approve an FBI DOJ request to surveil Carter Page, a Trump campaign foreign policy advisor. Could it be that, let's back up a second and not get emotional? Dearie didn't have exculpatory information. They gave him a full of false information to get that wire those warrants on Carter Page. If you remember, Carter Page that actually worked for the alphabet agencies, giving them information about Russia because of his knowledge and who he knew. And then they presented to the FISA court as this guy may be a Russian spy for President Trump. Not letting Dearie know that, in fact, Carter Page was a person that the FBI and others had used as an informant against the Russians. So could it be that Dearie has a bone to pick with the DOJ? Is it possible that he wants to make an example of them because if you think about it, Deary's reputation was aired out? And let's assume for a second that he truly is a fair and balanced judge. And we know that the Comiza, McCabe's Destructs, all those guys, they lied and they left that information that would that Dear, you probably would have said no, I'm not gonna get this FISA warrant. Maybe it's payback time. Maybe Derry wants to clear his name or make sure the right thing is done this time, because he was involved in the wrongdoing of the FISA court back in 2016. So I don't know, folks, put your thoughts down below. Is this disastrous? Is this bad? Or is this possible brilliance by Trump and his legal team? Now, I know that President Trump and his legal team plays chess when others are playing checkers, but it hasn't always worked. He's not infallible and perfect. I don't know why they picked Judge Raymond Theory, but I'm thinking they're dearly. Must be a damn dear. Good reason for them doing so. This is chess versus checkers. Or is it none of the above? Okay, let's get, further talking about this. Trump's legal team has put a dagger through DOJ as political charade. This is going to backfire badly on Biden. Okay. And this has to do with the DOJ arguing that there should not be a special master Trump's team. This is from the Western Journal. Michael Austin Trump's team claims the documents were declassified. Additionally, a motion filed by Trump's attorneys argue that DOJ could not be trusted, arguing that because of this an impartial special master needed to be appointed to look over the documents to preserve the sanctity of executive communications and other privileged materials. Now we know that Judge Eileen Cannon granted Trump's request. And that's why the story I just previously reported to you, about them agreeing to Derry as a special master. Now, here's what's interesting. As I've been reporting, the DOJ filed a multi-page document with the court saying, oh no, we can't have a special master. This is not good. And then Trump's team filed a counter motion. And this is what they say. According to a counter motion filed by Trump, such risks to the public and government are greatly exaggerated because the DOJ is saying, oh, it's great risk of the public and government. If a special master is appointed to review this, obviously, that's false. In fact, the one party actually at risk of facing irreparable harm in this case is Trump himself. If the special master is not appointed, if not reviewed by a neutral third party, potentially sensitive information could be used by the government to harm Trump. The motion claimed irreparable injury could most certainly corrupt the government were permitted to improperly use the documents seized. But this is where the really killing blow came from Trump and his team. They said in essence, to bring it to simplify it for you. Now, against all the legal mumbo-jumbo, they're saying this: look, either these are presidential documents, classified or not classified, and they belong to President Trump, or they had to go back to the National Archives. At no point anywhere were these documents supposed to be in the hands of the Justice Department. So either way, no matter what case the DOJ is making, they don't have a right to these documents, especially if they truly are classified. Which the team that Trump and his team are saying they were not because he had declassified them. But either way, it's a losing proposition for the DOJ, because these documents should not even be in their possession. So that is the motion, and he says it's going to be bad for Biden and his people. Either way, that is what the motion from Trump's legal team is saying. Alright, let's go back to that Monitor Crowley clip I played at the very beginning without any context. Let me put it in context with this huge whistleblower revelation about the hypocrisy, which should come as no surprise of the FBI. Ladies and gentlemen, give me your thoughts below. And hit subscribe right now. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching the video.